Hello Realtors, and welcome to the SCR Update. This is episode 373. It's October 27th, and this is your go-to source for what's happening in the world of real estate and how it impacts you. As always, I'm your host, Nick Kremydas, CEO of the South Carolina Realtors, and I've got a brief industry update for you today. Our technical director, as always, is Mike Christ. Mike, thanks for all your work over there, getting all of this together every week for us. This week, the real estate headlines seem to be battling each other. And we have some pretty good news on affordability, but at the same time, transaction confidence seems to be hitting a wall. And I think you may know what that's about. We'll talk about that more in a second. So this is what we think are the three biggest stories that you need to know about this week. First, the headline that everyone is cheering, right? Mortgage rates have plunged to their lowest level in over a year. Realtors, this is big news. As you know, we've all been waiting for this drop. The Fed has indicated that future cuts are coming. And so, as you know, for the average buyer, that drop from the high sevens down into the low sixes can save consumers hundreds on a monthly payment, making more homes affordable for the first time in our South Carolina market. But here's the puzzle. Why is inventory still so tight? One reason is because of the golden handcuffs that many existing homeowners are locked into their mortgage rates that are from the COVID days of 3 and 4%. Or pre-COVID, I should say. Selling now means giving up that low rate, possibly paying capital gains because of the huge price appreciation that homes have seen in South Carolina, 64% just since 2020 alone. And that means taking up a higher monthly payment or possibly higher monthly payment on their next house. So this reluctance to sell is artificially keeping supply low, and that lack of inventory continues to prevent prices from falling much further. That inventory alone is why we don't see or predict a housing recession anytime soon. And realtors, tell your buyers, don't wait for rates to hit 5%. I don't know if they will or if they won't. But one thing that all of the economists seem to be in agreement with is that the moment rates stabilize under that magic 6% mark, competition, I believe, economists believe, is going to explode. Lock in a rate now, use your current leverage to negotiate concessions like paying closing costs and reducing those borrowing costs for your clients. Next, the political and economic instability, I should say, created by the ongoing federal shutdown is directly contradicting the good news that we were getting this week about lower mortgage rates. While these lower rates should be boosting consumer confidence, the shutdown has done completely the opposite. And why is that? Well, you know why. Because the shutdown causes tangible closing problems. Loans that are backed by federal programs like the FHA, VA, and USDA programs are experiencing massive delays or even complete shutdowns. Even conventional loans are getting stuck waiting for essential documents from the IRS, which is operating with limited staff. Most critically, as it's pouring down rain in Columbia today, certainly a reminder, but most critically, the National Flood Insurance Program can't issue new policies during a lapse, possibly freezing sales in flood-prone areas. These primarily affect pre-firm homes, and there are open market alternatives, but it still is creating problems for consumers. This uncertainty is making buyers jittery and sellers hesitant to accept different kinds of loan types, federal loan types, knowing that some of these may cause closing delays. I certainly don't have a magic crystal ball here to know when this shutdown will end. There's a lot of talk about the November 1st date regarding the new period for open enrollment for insurance. There will be some, there'll continue to be a lot of finger pointing this week in Congress. But I know that we're in this for, it looks like, a long haul at this point. So the last thing, the third point I wanted to talk to you about today is technology. So as you know, the real estate industry is facing a massive compliance challenge with new technology integration. And I think that was highlighted last week by headlines that NAR's policies didn't contemplate AI. So now what do? This, of course, refers to how large portals like Zillow are integrating with conversational AI tools like ChatGPT. The core conflict is over data control and compliance with MLS rules, as AI can now instantly pull up and display all kinds of information about property and agents. MLSs are scrambling to ensure that this data is being used ethically, accurately, and without violating long-standing policies designed to protect consumer information, agent information, and to ensure transparency in the transaction. So the takeaway for me, at least, with all of this is that as AI increasing consumer transparency, the agent's value is moving away from simply providing information and shifting entirely to providing unbiased expertise and high-level negotiation. Guys, does this sound familiar? Isn't this exactly what we talked about when the internet, was first thought to replace agents? I know that kind of dates me and probably dates some of you as well, going back into the Wayback Machine here, but this is exactly the fear that was talked about when the internet was seen as this major disruptor. This shift makes the fight against agent steering more important than ever, and I certainly don't believe that AI is going to replace the real estate agent, exactly like the internet didn't replace you, right? But I do believe that agents that use AI, that learn how to use these new technologies and new tools, are going to replace agents that don't use these tools. So that's my little soapbox for today. The market right now is a fascinating stalemate. It's fascinating to watch from kind of the outside in. Rates are down. Tech is changing everything. Closing confidence is low. The winners right now are the buyers and sellers who work with informed professional realtors that understand these conflicting forces and can use them to their clients' advantage. So, we wrapped up a pretty tough weekend, Mike. After almost 50 years of being a Gamecock fan, I've got to tell you, my level of disappointment was just taken, just when I thought I couldn't get more disappointed with the outcome of a game, along comes Alabama, 8-point fourth quarter lead, and we didn't finish the game. And it's a strong reminder, realtors, that when we're working with our clients, when we're working with consumers, what is the end zone? It's the closing table, right? Getting them to the closing table, whether it's the seller or the buyer. But if you don't finish the game, if you're not the professional, ethical counselor, advisor, expert in your market, you're not going to be able to get your client to that finish line, which is the closing table. So I'm not going to give up, of course, being a Gamecock fan. I've always told my children that being a Gamecock fan builds character. It makes you tough. And this weekend was really tough. It was hard to bear. I'm glad the Tigers didn't play this weekend. So because they didn't lose either, which I guess is a good thing. Did the PC Blue Hose stay undefeated? Do you know, Mike? No. We'll see. We'll see how what the outcome is. I'll have a better sports update next week. But in the meantime, that's it for this week, Realtors. Hope you stay safe, stay Realtor strong, and we will catch up again with you real soon. Take care, everyone.